Prime Minister hosts a farewell reception for Venezuela's ambassador to Dominica, Her Excellency Carmen Martinez de Grijalva. Technical work for the establishment of Export Dominica complete, and Buy Dominica Carnival extravaganza set to encourage more people to buy local. Hello and thanks for joining us on this edition of National Focus. I'm Pearl Fontaine.
And I'm Jarna Hector. Stay with us for details of the headline stories and others after the break.
You're watching GIS.
Welcome back. Manufacturers and art and craft producers in Dominica have embarked on an initiative geared toward encouraging increased sale of locally made items. On Wednesday, the Dominica Manufacturers Association, in collaboration with the Dominica Association of Craft Producers, began a 6-day event designed to expose and promote the sale of locally made products. The activity will be staged from February 6th to the 13th at the covered area of the Rosa Market.
It is not an expo where we are inviting people to come to see what we can do, but it is a marketing tool to tell people, come and buy what we produce. Simple as that.
A similar activity was held during the Christmas season last year. President of the DACPA, Francis Richards, sees this Buy Dominica extravaganza as an ideal opportunity to buy local.
The emphasis from an arts and crafts standpoint, and I guess to some extent the manufacturers, is that all the items that you will see here are made in Dominica, made by Dominica. Authentic, original, one of a kind. Only place you can find that is here at the Rosa Market. You will find the products elsewhere, but you're guaranteed to find everything here as original, authentic, made by Dominica.
The Dominica Export-Import Agency, Dexia, is providing support to the initiative. General Manager of Dexia, Gregoire Thomas, says the Buy Dominica campaign is part of a larger campaign which complements the national export strategy.
In the development of the strategy, we looked at things that we call the value chain. And in the value chain, we looked at value addition, creation of value, value retention, and also leakages in the economy. We are aware that there are some leakages, there are some opportunities that we have locally where we can replace some of the imports. And I think on display we have quite a number of items that are comparable in terms of price and quality, that if we use our purchasing dollar, we can support local industries and make a contribution to the formula X minus M, exports minus imports. And that will contribute towards our balance of payments and the economic livelihood of our persons.
President of the Dominica Manufacturers Association, Linford Guthrie, says the initiative is also geared at reversing the culture which suggests that imported products are better than locally made products.
It doesn't matter how expensive that or those products are, the demand still remains constant. And this is why the Manufacturers Association / DACPA, we are trying to reverse that situation, reverse the trend where our consumers can think local.
Guthrie explains that by supporting local, this action will ultimately lead to numerous advantages for the local economy, including a reduction in the import bill.
Fine, we must import. We are not saying that we have to import oil, which takes a big chunk of our export debt. We have to import medicine or pharmaceuticals. We don't produce those things, but for God's sake, why do we have to import in abundance the things that we produced and manufactured in Dominica that is even better than what we are importing? Why? We can continue to do that. And then we throw our hands in the air and we say, oh my God, and we begin to blame individuals. We begin to blame leaders of government from time to time. Is that man responsible? Is that responsible? We, the consumers, are responsible. We are guilty. Go in the supermarkets and look on the shelf and you see Dominica manufacturers' products at the bottom of the shelf and the imported products on the top shelf. Why?
The Buy Dominica Carnival extravaganza will end on Ash Wednesday.
Pearl, I'm not sure what jumps out at you from this story, but what stands out to me is that people are claiming responsibility for their own incomes instead of sitting back and wondering what government is doing to put money in my pocket. I'm starting this program, or continuing because it started last year, to find my niche and to contribute to nation building in my own way, and I also endorse this project.
I actually think it's a great idea, a great idea. Locally grown products, while it may be more expensive, because I mean it's a lot of work that goes into it, and it's a lot of handmade material too. So that being said, I think that we should invest in our own. I think that, you know, people who actually make a living off of this, there's something to be said for them, you know. The Buy Dominica Carnival extravaganza isn't just about the carnival season.
Right.
They're doing it in carnival because we have a lot of returning, you know, Dominicans coming and their friends and some more of their friends. So why not everybody just buy Dominica and bring it back?
Right. It also speaks to the idea that not only government recognizes the importance of lowering the import bill, Dominicans also appreciate that. And what I think is that the private sector should get more involved, because not only individuals have to promote local produce, but the supermarket should put our products on the forefront, not on a shelf on its own. Blend it, highlight it, make it jump out at me when I come into your store. That's what I want.
Right. And here's another point too. We're always importing barrels. Everybody gets a barrel,
Good
including
point.
myself.
Good point.
Why not, you know, send a barrel to the United States, to England, filled with locally made products? I mean, that's a great idea.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Definitely. So, Dominicans, we urge you to go out there and buy Dominica.
In more news, government's efforts to improve the level of customer service offered by the public service continues with the development of the Customer Service Charter, which originally began last June. The consultancy, being undertaken by Trevor Hamilton and Associates of Jamaica, is on its final leg. On Wednesday, select members of the public were invited to a workshop facilitated by Dr. Ben Henry of Trevor Hamilton and Associates. That meeting served to equip participants with necessary skills to evaluate customer service in the public sector.
We need to know what customers are thinking about the organization, you know, so we need to ask them about the service. What are we doing right so we can continue to do it, and what are we doing wrong so we can fix it? So it's important to know, because customers' expectations are, are important. The customer definition of your service is the only one that counts. So if the customer say your service is good, then it's good. If they say it's bad, then it's bad, no matter what you think. The idea of this session was to show or share with the persons who will be conducting the surveys, look at the questionnaires and give their input and critique it before we send it out there.
The workshop participants will be responsible for periodically conducting surveys and assessments of the service offered by government departments. Kennedy Dupuy is a debt collector who will be part of the evaluation team. He is optimistic that based on what he has learned from the workshop, customer service levels will improve.
I know for a fact that in the public service and in the private sector, it is very important that you deal with customers. You have internal customers as well as external customers. And a survey needs to be conducted in the government service. And that's the reason why I was at the training today. The information that we received was informative. And if we use it, I think that we're going to be effective in the survey.
Here's a scene from that training.
If I'm a bus driver and I have to take people every morning someplace, and you know, when you've been driving the bus all these years, it's like when you're driving your car. I know when my car don't sound right, that something is wrong. You just know. It's the same with a driver, you know. So you're going to say to the bus, can't take this bus out this morning. Something is not wrong. If they're forced to do it and you refuse to do it, if you are told to them you refuse to do it, they can't do anything about firing you at all.
Prior to that workshop, a service quality leadership training was held for senior level officers of the public service. Vern Leslie is administrative cadet in the Reform Management Unit.
They were educated and equipped with better skills to be able to lead their employees in the correct approaches and ways of treating customers right.
A rewards and recognition workshop also took place prior to Wednesday's evaluation training. That workshop addressed the best ways for developing a reward system within the public service for employees demonstrating exemplary behavior. Dr. Ben Henry, facilitator of the workshops, explained to GIS News the importance of an effective recognition system.
The idea of partnering with the private sector, you know, trainers could go in and do some work for the private sector in customer service training, put a value on that training, and then get goods in return for the training to give to the staff. What gets rewarded gets done. If people are doing a good job and they're not rewarded, they're going to say, hey, why should I bother? Because nobody's noticing me. 95% of reward and recognition programs are non-monetary. You know, so it's not really more money that most people want. They want to be appreciated for doing a good job. They want to be patted on the back for doing a good job. They want their managers to say, look, thank you for being such an excellent worker. You know, we appreciate you.
Late last year, a Training the Trainers workshop was also led by Dr. Henry to equip 45 senior officers to take on the duties of continuing customer service training across the public service. Those trainers will officially begin their functions later this month. The consultancy will come to a close when Dr. Henry submits his final report to government by the end of March.
The report will stress the critical importance of the management team to get out of the office more often and observe the staff working and give them positive and corrective feedback. They have to buy into the program. They have to constantly, relentlessly communicate the vision and the mission of the department, you know, and until it sticks like glue to the employees. They have to go there and tell them how important they are, no matter what level, because every employee in the department has equal value.
The submission of that report is expected to lead to the successful creation of a service standards and customer service charter and complaints mechanism.
In other news, the government of Dominica has received financing from the World Bank for the implementation of the OECS Economic Government for Regional Integration Project, or EGRIP. The financing, which totals $2.4 million is targeted at promoting efficiency, quality and transparency in the public service through regional integrated e-government applications. One of the components of that e-government initiative is a multi-purpose identification system, or MPID. On Monday, January 28th in Grenada, the governments of St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica and Grenada approved and officially launched the identification system. The purpose of MPID is to unify key national and regional information systems of member states. Among those systems to be integrated are civil and business registries, immigration systems, and election systems. GIS News will be following up on that story and will bring you more in a subsequent newscast.
Economist in the Ministry of Trade, Dr. Eisenhower Douglas, has confirmed that the technical work required for the establishment of Export Dominica is complete. Plans for the new entity, which will replace the Dominica Export-Import Agency DEXIA, were highlighted during the budget address of Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit last year.
I'm pleased to announce here that the technical work is actually completed. Of course, there's much more beyond the technical work, because the technical work will have to be reviewed by Cabinet, which I'm hoping will take place sometime after Cabinet, and the Cabinet may require certain matters clarified and expanded upon. But as far as the technicians are concerned, the technical work is actually completed. But the Prime Minister said in the press that Export Dominica will begin operations in the new financial year, which is July 2030. So we hope that will happen.
The development of Export Dominica is in keeping with government's new thrust to increase economic performance through export. Prime Minister Skerrit told the House during last year's budget that Export Dominica will focus on export facilitation. He also said that the entity will be required to plan and execute its work in close collaboration with local manufacturers and producers, the Ministry of Agriculture and other enterprises with the potential to export. Prime Minister Skerrit believes that the development of an export culture and the transformation of Dominica's export sector are critical elements in Dominica's quest to achieve sustained economic growth. The Prime Minister, during the last budget address, also reminded the House that the process of transforming Dominica's export sector was set in motion with the recent establishment of the National Export Council, the NES.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit on Monday hosted a farewell reception for Venezuela's ambassador to Dominica, Her Excellency Carmen Martinez de Grijalva, at the Fort Young Hotel. The reception marked the end of the ambassador's 12-year posting in Dominica. GIS's Mervyn Matthew attended Monday's reception and files this report.
It is very sad for us to see Ambassador leave because Dominica will lose a very, very dear friend, a very close friend, a very loyal friend.
Thank you very much for all your affection. Thank you.
It was an evening of mixed emotions, a blend of applause and tears as government officials, including the country's head of state, former president, members of cabinet and other close associates of Venezuela's ambassador to Dominica, Her Excellency Carmen Martinez de Grijalva, gathered at the Fort Young Hotel's terrace overlooking the Caribbean Sea to say goodbye to their beloved diplomat. The reception marked the end of the ambassador's 12-year posting to Dominica.
At that time, we had no idea the impact that she would have on the lives of so many Dominican families and communities, both personally and in her official capacity.
Monday's reception was hosted by Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, who has worked closely with the Venezuelan diplomat since he assumed the role as the country's leader.
We have worked extremely closely, advancing the bilateral relations between Dominica and Venezuela.
Some criticize a close relationship with the country's leader.
It wasn't a situation where Ambassador may have liked me more than anybody else, though I hope so. But it is simply because of her mandates and her responsibilities and her duties.
During her tenure as ambassador, relations between Dominica and Venezuela has been transformed with improved cooperation between the two countries and at a multilateral level through ALBA and Petrocaribe.
The relationship between Dominica and Venezuela is at an all-time high.
Ambassador Grijalba, throughout her tenure, served as a link between the two countries and played a major role in fostering linkages and promoting travel between Dominica and her homeland.
The fact remains we could always rely on Ambassador for her support and for intervention.
Ambassador Grijalba spoke with passion at every given opportunity about her love for the island, and her kind spirit was rewarded with smiles and floral gifts.
You've certainly been able to touch the hearts of a number of people here in Dominica because of the warmth of your personality.
She has certainly brought a different twist to the whole issue of diplomatic representation.
Ambassador Grijalba, during her tenure, did not shy away from any path which led to improved cooperation between the countries.
Chavez asked me to work, and that has been exactly what I have done.
Ambassador Grijalba, in an address filled with emotion, told her guests on Monday that she has learned a lot from her experience in Dominica.
Dominica has taught me how to really live, both at personal and a professional level. This has been an extraordinary experience for me.
For the Venezuelan diplomat, who had spent over a decade in the country away from her homeland, saying goodbye was difficult.
You have no idea how hard it is.
At Monday's reception, the ambassador once again got the opportunity to see some of her favorite cultural groups perform, including the Venezuelan Institute's Cuatro group.
Ambassador, we want you to see this package as a gift and an expression of our love to you.
Reporting for GIS News, I am Mervyn Matthew.
For helping those in need, I thank my God for.
And that's the English segment of the news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, gouvernement Dominique et puis police bien concernés contre les affaires monde qui a trois fichiers physiques illégaux. Selon le ministre de la Sécurité nationale, Honorable Charles Savren, le gouvernement Dominique a déjà passé une loi qui a concerné les fusils illégaux en pays.
Quand on a fusils en la main, il faut considérer comme si c'est eux qui n'ont. Avec eux, ça va n'importe pas de place, ça fait n'importe de bitin. Comme ça, si nous ça faisons action qui tiré. Premièrement, les polices tchèbé vont fusil au pas de licence qui pénition là même devant la loi, c'est bien sérieux. Et si vous servez fusil ça là pour faire un crime, eh bien crime là même une pénition avec possession fusil là, une pénition en plus. Avec nous passons loi, le Firearms Act, l'année passée, pour hausser la punition là, pour les gens qui ont servi, qui ont fusil sans licence. Parce que ça même c'est un crime en pays là.
En d'autres nouvelles, le ministre tourisme bien avancé pour finaliser un plan qui est en place pour manager la situation trois quarts qui peut faire et puis affecter l'industrie touristique. Plan ça là formulé pendant une semaine qui était organisé. Semaine ça là était coordonné par officier communication City O Johnson John Rose. permanent secrétaire ministre touriste Claudia Bellot, qui a bien supporté le plan Salam et puis qui a gardé le vent pour l'implémentation. Bellot aussi fait parole qui plan Salam qui bénéficie l'industrie touriste là autant. Et oui, merci tous ces participants là en séminaire là et puis l'intérêt vous mettez à dedans. En la nouvelle association Moun Disabilité Dominique, quand célébrer 30 anniversaire à l'année là et puis plaisir activité. Yon ces activités là c'est un t-shirt band Lady Carnaval. C'est le président association là Alexandre Saint-Luce, d'autres activités qui prennent place.
En février, nous avons un t-shirt band pour Carnaval. Ça c'est à le 11 février. Le 18, formelle présentation pour vidéo project. Pour Avoui, le 29 annual general meeting AGM nous. À Avoui, le 28, nous avons l'autre activité, Wheeler Walkathon, un domino match pour les gens qui ne peuvent pas clair. Et même si vous savez clair, mais nous avons marqué Vijayo pour pas ça, quand ça, vous pouvez jouer domino mago, ça, mais puisque nous marqué Vijayo, ou pas que ça, comme ça, ok, ni pour jouer avec les gens qui passent avec clair aussi. En mois mai, nous en mois mai, c'est moi, gens qui pas avec clair. Nous avons gardé moi ça comme gens qui passent avec clair. Et en bout de mois, nous avons l'autre activité spéciale, nous crions Dinner in the Dark. Ça, ou même McPherson, vous savez jouer corps, vous savez jouer, vous savez parler, moi connaître la folie, mais danser, ça danser, on y vient et jouer corps.
Et puis finalement, officier relations publiques, association Manufacturing Dominic Seven Mackenzie, qui a gardé devant ou la produit local qui a sur la place pour extravaganza carnaval qui vend à sur la place là. Extravaganza Sala qui est organisé par l'Association Manufacturers Dominique en collaboration et puis l'Association Craft Dominique commencé en la place pour aujourd'hui.
Nous voulons comprendre que ce n'est pas une exposition. Ce n'est pas une exposition là mon café qu'a mouché mon là mon café bité avec mouché mon ça nous café. Ça nous café ici c'est nous produit nous café Dominique. Nous voulons mener ici en la place là pour vendre. Vous comprenez ça moi-même. Avec pour Dominique venir gagner. Puis vous savez autant produit nous café Dominique, ni autant problème pour vendre puis dans ces supermarchés là pas gagner pas vendre produit nous café. Et dans yo ka point produit nous, yo ka mettre dans l'étagère nous moun pas même pour c'est comme ça nous ni pour faire gamme parmi comme nous-mêmes pour voir comment nous savons vendre produit nous café Dominique. Avec aussi pour moun apprécier ça nous café. Puis moi si vous là regardez autant bité nous café qui ici actuellement ou pas savent nous café bébé comme ça. Dans ces produits à nous café Dominique. Avec ces problèmes avec ça c'est un de ces problèmes là nous Dominique. Moun pas savent qui ça nous café. Comme ça activité ça qu'a exposer produit nous pas faire moun ouais qui ça nous café avec nous ca espérer moun qui venir avec gagner produit.
Messieurs mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non moi c'est McPherson, c'est Luce. Au revoir.
Learn how to boost your creativity in our National Focus Tip of the Day coming up after this. To develop your creative side, get into the habit of writing your ideas down as soon as you get them. This way you train your brain to keep coming up with ideas. When they're written down, you don't have to worry about remembering them, and this allows more room for new ideas to form in your mind.
Try not to have any expectations. This is similar to living with no stress, but specifically no stress from the outcome. When you create with love and passion and no expectation of the outcome, the chances are much greater that you will create something remarkable. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments.
Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm.
On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Jarna Hector.
And I'm Fontaine. Thanks so much for watching.